So if it's unpinned, here we go, and it's like that. Now I've drawn a model there, but if you did all your work out here, which some of you did, she's no good. That's bad, okay? Because when you go to south elevation view, this is risky, what I'm doing here. What file do I have open? That one. You're not gonna see a model here. See, there's my DWG over there. If I start drawing on it, it's gonna draw it way over here. I had maybe half a dozen or so like that. So when you first bring the DWG in with all those things, you needed to unpin it and you needed to move it into those cameras. Okay, there's quite a few people didn't do that. So you got really crappy marks for this, you got really crappy marks for some other stuff, because you just can't. Like, you need the DWG lines to line up your model to something. So that was like, I was surprised that there was that many. So how do I fix it? Well, if you've drawn your model somewhere else, the answer is pretty much you're gonna have to draw it again, or you can try and copy it into the DWG, but you gotta draw in here. You have to draw in there. Okay, let's see if I'm getting out of trouble. Whew, good. And then after you've done that, you need to pin it, because it will move. The amount of times that we grab that DWG and hide it, then we bring it back, and then we customize it to see, to place windows, to use the information from the DWG when we want it. We use it like a rented mule, right? We don't feed it, we don't do anything, we don't brush it, we treat it poorly. So we hide it, we use it when we need it, we don't even pay it, right? All right, so it's just a slave to us. But if you abuse it, you're gonna lose your damage deposit, right? So you gotta pin that thing to make sure that it's there, and your model has to be drawn. Think of these as cameras. They're showing me everything. Like when I go to section views and I go to 3D and I go to all that stuff, these are the things that are showing me what's going on. So if my DWG is not in there, I'm in big trouble, okay? So that was a bit of a problem for some folks, okay? So it has to be in there. I'm just going over some of the stuff to try and help. We don't put elbows in text. They need to be out so you can read the text. There is no top of slab. I know there was an error in one of the documents, but I corrected that and changed it. So you can put top of slab on there if you want to, but most technologists are going to tell you that they get yelled at if they put elbows in both directions. Don't do that, okay? Don't put elevations on both sides of the model. They all have to go to one side. Okay, so that was another problem.
Okay.
Yep.
Elbows in both directions, you mean if I had another
Don't put them up.
one down and one up?
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I did it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I dinged you or not, I probably just said, don't do that, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so this should be presentable to hand in. So really what I wanna do is, I wanna go something like this.
Yeah.
So and I really wanna probably go like this. Okay, it takes a bit of fooling around to get this looking nice. Now, it works a lot better if you do a different scale, but right now we're kind of like that. Now remember, when you grab the top one of these elevation markers, they'll all move the same. If you start grabbing them individually, you're gonna pull them apart, and that's bad. Okay, but really to make this pretty, it should be fine, and it should be at minimum be shaded. All right?
Yeah.
Okay?
If I read that top of slab level and I have some object reference to this level, I think I'm gonna be fine.
You can use it,
Right?
you can use it, but the assignment doesn't want it, which means I don't want it. Just like sections, you can put sections
So like
everywhere
if
you
I
want,
just hide it?
but then get rid of it when you're done with it. If you need it, if you need a line to tell you need to add and subtract 3 inches, I know you guys are capable of a lot heavier math than that. I struggle with the math that you guys know how to do, okay, but if if you need a line there to tell you to add and subtract 3 inches, that's a problem. So it doesn't need to be there, okay? Now, most drawings that you're gonna see aren't gonna look like this. They're gonna see top of slab, because you're used to it. But the reason that we took top of slab out is because you don't want top of slab, top of footing, and bottom of footing. That's too much. When I used to do this assignment with just top of slab, everybody screwed up the elevations. So I tried to make it easier, okay? So, but maybe it hasn't, I don't know. In any case, I need you to do what the assignment says, okay? So I don't care about the colors or any of that kind of stuff, but moving forward, make it a little bit closer to presentable like that, okay? Not saying this is perfect, I'm not some kind of licensed draft person or anything like that, but, okay? So a little bit more that way. Another big problem, trying to think of what some of them were. Oh, do not submit any view and any file to me in realistic, or I will lose my mind, as Al Pacino would say, okay? I've got limited bandwidth at home, the computer's full, it takes forever, drives me nuts. You get one freebie, those of you who did it, I know who you are, do it again, I'm dinging marks. Do not Momo, do not submit any views. I'll be the judge of that. In realistic, okay? If you want it to look pretty, pick shaded or consistent colors. Textures is less demanding, so if you do that, I won't mind too much. It'll show texture. But you don't really need to see texture. Okay, you can if you want. It shows you all the fun stuff that you did, but usually it looks stupid. It usually looks better off just in shaded or consistent colors of things, okay? So that's another thing. A lot of you aren't duplicating, which is fine for this assignment, and I get it, you're probably in a hurry because you're busy, and I get it. But don't let that habit get worse. So, you know, if I want a different door size that's not available to me in these door sizes, right? Don't just take this and just blow it out. Always, always go to edit type. First thing you want to do is duplicate it, rename it to the different size or configuration that you want. Doesn't matter what it is, footing, column, roofing materials, whatever it is. Duplicate it and rename it to what you want, okay? Because it's gonna bite you in the butt later on, okay? So always, always duplicate. That's another big one. This window, it's got a couple casements in it. How big can a casement window be? I don't really know, but I know one thing for sure. What's the screen? Is that about 8 feet wide? Probably. 8.5 feet across there. Do you think that if I have hinges on that whole great big pile of glass can swing? Don't do that. It's ridiculous. Okay, same with a 5-foot window. There's no way, even if you could machine all that, nobody would be able to afford it. The window would collapse when it hung out there, especially if it was triple glazed. It just wouldn't work. Somebody had one of those swinging into the house. Do casement windows swing into the house? No, never. The pressure, they would leak, right? Remember building science? Your windows have to, if you have a casement window that cranks out like that, it has to open to the exterior, okay? So I know you're in a hurry or whatever. Casements are usually, yeah, I don't know, not much bigger than 2 feet. Any one I've ever seen wide. Okay, so the basement windows that were these windows that are 5 feet wide. Let go. Here we go. These windows, the DWG only shows one side, but we didn't go to a lot of lengths to try and do that. A double is fine, but you can't swing that 60 inches wide, one swing. You can't swing it in. That's just all wrong, right? Another oldie but a goodie is pocket doors. There was a lot of this. Pocket doors. Should probably clean them up. Do I have one here somewhere? Watch where the pockets go. Okay? So I need a pocket door here. It doesn't want to put it there. Hang on. Anyway, watch where your pocket goes. Why can't I place a pocket door on there? Anybody know what the heck I'm doing wrong here? Oh, it's probably my. I got pocket doors cutting through walls. You can flip them. So if you have a pocket door, you have to have twice as much room as the size of the door. You have to have a pocket for it to go into. So if I wanna put a pocket here, I can't have it going out there. It's a little bit bad for the thermal and envelope, right? It doesn't work, okay? I had a lot of that. So just think about it a little bit. As soon as you place it, you get a little flip arrow. Okay, I've got this set up to put the roof on, that's why I can't, my, view range is set to show you something else, and I don't wanna change it right now. And same thing right here, like a lot of you decide, well, I'll put a pocket door here, cause there's no bifolds or whatever, and a bypass it doesn't give you as much room, but you can't have the pocket coming out into the hall, right? You gotta have room for it, okay, so think about that a little bit. A lot of you spent a whole bunch of time putting beds in and all that kinda stuff, cause it's fun, but some of the other stuff wasn't there, okay? The other thing is these grid lines. So they need to be on top of the DWG, which these are. But where do I wanna start drawing my model? Outside of sheathing. Okay, so that has to be, there was quite a few that had this mistaken. So there's two things you gotta do here. One is you gotta make sure that the grid lines are on the DWG. I guess it wasn't hidden anyway. Make sure that it's on the DWG, but also make sure you draw your model on it. Because what ends up happening is somebody like me comes along and starts throwing sections through here, and that's a bad example because there's a door there. That's a bad example because I'm on the other side of the house. Just give me a sec here. Try this one, see what this looks like. Never mind, we'll just draw a section right through here. Switch to fine right away. Okay, so there's my grid line right here. If I light that up, and everybody's file, this is what I do, both directions. I put my own section in and I check it. So that's got to run right down the sheathing where it does. You can see it lighten up that wall, right? And then I've got everything else lined up to it. The floor goes to outside of sheathing. Many of you went to the outside of the siding. Has to go to the sheathing, otherwise the foundation's too big. So you've got this floor system and you're building the wall in from it, it's overhanging the foundation. And the foundation, same thing, to the grid line. That's why we put the grid lines there. So the grid lines have to mimic the DWG, and then the house has to mimic that. So you get, it's a lot of it, I know you guys know this stuff, but a lot of it is just zooming in and identifying the correct line. So sections are the way to check, right? So if I zoom in here and I see this is moved, or maybe I've moved the wall or whatever, then I can start running around trying to diagnose it, okay? So I really need you to fix that stuff up, okay? And I will help you, let's get some time this week on this project. Maybe we can extend it out a little bit, because I think this is valuable for you guys to nail this down. Makes you a little bit more employable, okay? I think I'm gonna spend a little bit more time at it this year. I think you guys would appreciate that, because the alternative is some pretty boring shit that we can put aside, okay? Like psychrometrics and that stuff. Blech, hate that stuff, but anyway, we should talk about it later. Okay, so let me think, what's another big thing? Oh, it's putting the basement under. Most of you were able to do that, so that's pretty good. That copy aligned to selected levels, but it doesn't do you any good when, core face, that's the other problem too. A lot of you, things like basements and stuff, you moved them under, but you're drawing the center line and stuff like that, and then not checking it, right? Like, I had a few where the basements were lined up on the, like 8 inches in, cause you're drawing to the wrong thing. Before you start drawing, you have to check your location line. So core face on this is just the outside of it, cause you remember, everything when we build it, has a core face. Okay, so I wanna draw a core face exterior, that way the outside of that concrete's gonna go to that grid line when I attach it to it. Okay, if I've got other stuff on there, like if I had insulation on the outside of this basement, like we have siding on the outside of the exterior wall, that's outside of the grid line. I don't care about that. This is the structural entity of the house, the outside of the concrete, the outside of the subfloor, the outside of the sheeting. Okay? So make sure you always check that. The constraints were pretty good. Like most people seem to understand this, the base constraint, if you need to offset it, and the top constraint. Most people seem to understand that pretty good. Most of you were pretty good that way, so that was good to see. I think that's probably because you've been through estimating, right, and you understand that a little bit. But just where you're drawing to, and that's more of a Revit kind of tool thing. Like, when you've got that complicated exterior wall assembly, what part of it do I want to line up to where? That's what you really need to know. Okay, I'm trying to think of anything else. Just overall neatness too, like this is just a temporary one I put in for myself, that's why it's a mess, I'm not gonna bother fixing that, I'd probably just end up deleting it, right, so. Any other sort of quick questions rather than major ones before we carry on? We're gonna put the roof on this sucker today. As you can see, I've been fooling around with it, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I'm not giving you shit, I'm just trying to help. Okay, hey, come and see me. There's a couple of you in here. Things like going out and getting other stuff is fine, but don't go get a whole bedroom suite, don't get a whole kitchen. Cause that happened. 0. I want you to go get the components as the assignment says. You can't just go buy a whole kitchen and plunk it into the house. Okay, that's a no-no. That tells me that you're lazy and you didn't do the work. You just went and got one RFA file, one-stop shopping. Okay, so don't do that. Go get the stuff, okay? I know it's painful and it takes time, but that's the point. That was like a dad thing to say, sorry.
First one?
It's supposed to be painful.
Done with the first one?
Yeah. Okay, good deal. Okay, what am I doing? Let's go get the assignment.
Or I guess why can't I see like edit the head of the section to like name it or whatever?
The who, the what?
Like the top of the section marker?
This?
No, the section marker. Like the arrow.
This?
Yeah, for some reason it won't let me like edit, like put in like one or name it.
No?
Are you what?
I think so. So you wanna rename this?
No, like on, like you see your section running through the
Yeah.
building on there, the
This one?
arrowhead, yeah, it won't let me like put like, you know, on the DWG file, it says like.
Oh, in here?
Do something, it's not letting me.
You wanna rename these things?
Yeah, so they don't just have nothing.
I forget.
I thought I would just like right click on it or like click on the box.
It's in the book, and I forget right off the top of my head.
Cause I know it has a name in like the project browser, but.
I think you can name it right in here. Identity data,
Yeah, that changes it in the project browser, but you already have a section one.
but it doesn't change it on your views? Yeah, there's a different way to do that, and it will come to me.
Okay,
Yeah, don't need to do it for these assignments,
okay.
but I'll get back to you.
That was just one like nitpicky thing.
Yeah, no, I'll get back to you, there's a bunch of stuff like that, right, so. Okay. Let me get to the right world here, we'll turn this assignment on, I don't think I did, I meant to before I left the office this morning, I forgot. Where are we? Fall? Welcome to my world, look at this, I've been here for a while. This thing keeps every course, like look at this shit. That's when I started. Right? Yeah. Oops. No, Non-credit, that's, distance education. Yeah, it keeps everything in there. I've seen people here who've been here like 20 years, and it's all there. All of you were there, your marks, everything. Okay, so this one's in two parts as well. Hopefully it's good.
I can see the assignment, but.
3.1? No?
No touch. You can see it in another file.
Where?
Guess we should make it available this year. What month is it? Make it due today. When do you want this due? 1 week, right?
2 weeks.
Better take care of what is outside and inside.
Next year.
So we have this one in space here.
How's that looking? Oop.
Vacation means like never did,
Should be good. Oh, I know, another thing too. I got quite a few assignment ones with a bunch of assignment two stuff on it. Don't do that again, please. Okay, rename it, send me just the stuff that's on, becomes very important for this next one. Okay, assignment two, if there's a whole bunch of assignment three on it, I'm not looking at it. No, seriously, because I can't see the stuff and the procedure that you did to get in here.
Right, you want different documents?
Yeah,
Okay, you don't want stuff. to
yeah,
be carried
assignment
over.
one should have assignment one stuff on it,
Okay.
not assignment two. Assignment two should have all of assignment one with the assignment two stuff built on top of it, different file name. Okay, assignment three should have everything. If you send me assignment two with half of assignment three on top, it's not gonna go well for you. Okay? Like, how many of you are in here? There's 31 assignments came in, 20 minutes to a half an hour each. That's how long I look at them. That's a lot of time. How was your weekend, Matt? Kinda sucked. Okay, so, I feel your pain, I know, I'm not saying that I'm better than you are or worse, but it's just a bunch of, it makes it really easy for me, okay, cause I got other shit I gotta do too. Okay, what are we doing here? Roof, we're gonna create a roof on this thing, so, this, is a little bit tricky, but it's fairly straightforward, there's not a lot of tools and stuff to use here. So the first thing we wanna do, is we're gonna create a gable roof, because that's what that McCann house is for. So a lot of this information isn't just made up, this is the stuff that's in the DWG file. So the stuff I'm telling you, like the interior vaulted pitch and all that kind of stuff, it's probably there. If it's not there, then we've just dictated it, whatever, right? So the exterior pitch of the vault is 12.4. We'll make the inside 12.3 or 3.12, however you want to say it. It could be 3.5. They're scissor trusses. They're thick at the top, right, and then they come down to a heel. They're skinnier. Okay, they're like little arrows. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is create a gable roof with a 2-foot overhang. We're going to use 412. We're going to start with the supplied roof, which is just a generic 9 inch. And, we're gonna draw on the top wall view. Ooh, we've never been there before. You can draw this anywhere, actually. You could draw it on top of subfloor, but it's just easier to understand at top of wall, cause that's kinda where the roof is gonna connect to. So the first thing that we probably need to do is we need to set the view range before we do anything. So we haven't had this open before, there's a pile of information here that I don't really want. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my DWG and I'm gonna hide it, okay? Before I hit it, I noticed that there's a 2-foot overhang on the house. Okay, that's where you get that, yes, sir?
I can't seem to select my DWG in top of wall view. I can select it in other views. Like I can see the DWG, but it's just not saying that it's something I can click on.
Just let go of some stuff and change the view, back and forth. We may settle it when you go check your view range. First thing we gotta do is there is an underlay set on this thing. And, we're gonna change this underlay, this top one here, where it says, range base level, we're gonna change that to none. We don't wanna see what's underneath for this, okay? So when I move my arrow back, it's gone now. Okay, but now my view looks stupid, but we're gonna go change that now too. So we're gonna go to our view range. And we want the top of wall at 0. This cut plane shouldn't really matter, I'm gonna set it to 0. And this one, I wanna go down just a little bit, I'm gonna go, associated level, top of wall, I'm gonna go down 1 inch, just to make sure that I can see the top of the wall. Okay, so what I'm seeing there is like just the very top 2x4 of the double top plate. Everybody should know what I'm talking about, right? So I've just sliced the top wall.
Can you open this view range window again?
Yeah. Sorry about that, I'm going too fast again.
Just in front.
The cut plane is also set.
The cut plane set it to 0, yeah, we don't need a cut plane here. You might get an error if your cut plane is.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, because you're trying to cut outside of your view. We do have a view range like this right now.
And you're trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a teeny little view range. We just have a sliver, we just sliced the top plate, way up there. Double top plate, those two 2x4s that go all the way around, we just sliced them to 1 inch. Maybe I don't spend enough time explaining some of this stuff. So here's our, let's just say this is our main floor, right? And you all know we have a double top plate at the top, all the way around. What we just did is we went like this. Right here, this is all we see right now. Just a thin 1 inch slice. Doesn't have to be that way, I'm just doing it that way because we wanna put a roof on this thing, that's all I wanna see right now. There's so many different ways you can do this, like we could be drawing it from here, TO subfloor. TO sub. I would just have to do the math to get me to here. It just gets confusing sometimes, so it's easier, that's why I thought top of wall. Where we're gonna put the roof. Okay, so that's decent, and you gotta make sure you turn your underlay off. Alright, so that's the first thing you have to do. Make sure you're working in fine. Make sure you're working in hidden line.
Is the document uploaded? Or the steps for this?
Yeah,
Is it on D2L?
yeah, D2L. Assignment 3. I tell you less and less
No.
as the
see.
assignments go on, and not a whole lot in here. Okay? The other thing I'm gonna do is, I guess I'll just leave those on for now. I'm gonna delete this one, this is something I just put in there to check something, I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay? So, I might have to do this a couple times, cause it's been a while, I always forget. Hi DWG, yeah, we could come up, the notes I'm looking at, I did it from the subfloor, I came up 8 feet up off the subfloor, but we're gonna do it this way. Okay, so let's just start banging away at some tools here. So you're gonna get your architecture roof tool, and it's roof by footprint, so you can just click on the roof, but you can see all the different options that we have here. Okay, I've done roof by extrusion, that's actually pretty cool, but we definitely don't wanna do that right off the bat. Okay, so we're gonna get our root intake, of course, it's good old sketch mode. Yay, sketch mode. And then I'm gonna go to my 9-inch wall. I'm gonna edit it. What's the first thing I'm gonna do?
Duplicate.
Duplicate, thank you. And I'm gonna name it, I don't know, let's use rafters. We could say trusses too, if you want to. The reason I'm using rafters is just some of the material we're gonna use, it might get complicated. Okay. So once I get that renamed, I got my new wall type, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make it look something like, I think there's a picture there. Yeah, so we'll start with the structure, and I'm gonna call it, we should have this in here. Wood joist, I'm gonna use this one just for fun, see what happens. Wood joist rafter lay with some bad insulation, that way I'll get an R value, it'd be kinda cool. I think that'll work, pretty sure it will. And, let's just say our rafters are 5.5 inches, let's say they're 2x6s. Now let's start inserting stuff. How many more layers do I need? I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need 5. Actually, you know what? That layer 7 and 8, you don't need to put that in, cause we're gonna end up having to remove it later, but nah, you better put it in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna move 2 down. And I might have too many here, I'm gonna move that up. I'm gonna move that up. And I think I'm gonna delete this one. Yeah, okay, now we're rolling. Change my layers, I'm gonna call this a finish layer. Call this a substrate layer, that's gonna be our roofing felt, or some kind of membrane for the roof, something breathable. Here it can be structure, not substrate. This is gonna be oriented strand board. This will be a membrane layer, our vapor barrier, and this will be another finish layer, our drywall. Okay, so then you can go get the materials. These ones we've had a zillion times before. Vapor. Vapor retarder. Nothing. This one's gonna be chipboard. Oops. And here we're gonna have oriented strand board. Rubin felt. You have to add that up. Haven't used it before. And I'm gonna put a metal roof on. Just for fun. Standing seam? Nah. We'll just go go for the budget stuff. I don't like asphalt shingles. Spent way too much money on them over the years and put way too many of them on. Any roofers in here? Roofing sucks. It's fun for a little while. But when your fingertips start bleeding, yeah, that's the end of that nonsense. I don't know, how thick's a metal roof? We'll just say half an inch or whatever, I don't really care. The substrate should have some thickness there, make it 1/8 of an inch thick. It's just like black paper, 2 layers is a good practice, but whatever. So that's looking pretty good. What are we, 6 5/8 here? Doesn't really much matter. Okay, so we're not drawing trusses and all that kind of stuff. That's a whole different ball of wax. I gotta look at the rest of the course. I'd kinda like to do it. Maybe we'll do some of that stuff, cause I think it would be valuable for you if you know how to do that, and Joyce too. Yes, sir?
You need to change your strength or OSB.
Oh, yeah, we need some, and roofs are 7/16, not 3/8. But framers like to do that, like put 3/8 on the roof, 7/16 on the wall, and the house is the wrong size, and the roof isn't strong enough, cause the 3/8 is lighter. Now they have zoom booms, they don't do it as much, but back in the old days when they lifted it up by hand. Okay, so I think we're looking good there, yeah? Any other complaints? Thank you. Cool. Can we draw the roof yet? No, gotta do a few other things. Alright. So we're gonna work with, boundary line, gotta have that set, so it should be there by default. Where's our base offset gonna come from? I think probably right there. And, cutoff level, none, do I want a plumb cut? No, we're just gonna leave this at 0 and see where it ends up. We want an overhang. Not 20 feet, 2 feet. So that's gonna be an offset. When I draw, it's gonna offset, right? And I wanna define slope. I don't get a slope here yet, it's still, it's not available, I don't get it till after, so you have to draw the roof and it's just gonna give you some bogus slope and then we'll change it later because we want 412. So let's give it a whirl here. I'm kinda winging it. I'm gonna use the rectangle tool. And where would the trusses land, do you think? Like the truss heel or rafter heel? In plane with the sheathing. Like you can take a heel face on a truss and it should line up with the sheathing and it should line up with the engineered floor system and the foundation, the whole ball of wax. On this style of house, like there's lots of variations to this, right? But this is just a plain Janer. Okay, so I'm gonna grab it right there at sheathing. If you don't see that, it means you probably don't have fine turned on. I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna start to pull. Oh, I gotta leave because I lost my offset. It's easy to do. I lost it just by grabbing the tool. No, it's okay now. Okay, so start there, you can see I've got an offset going on there. It's drawing the triangle bigger than the house is, which is what I want. You can also see I've got slope indicators on there. And just go right across and land it right on the outside of your sheeting. Okay, so you're gonna have to, if your house is drawn off your grid lines and stuff like some of your, you're gonna have to fix that stuff, right, before you do this. You can do it in class here now so you can get a feel for it, but you're gonna have to go back and fix that model. This is not gonna work. Okay, so you need to have your house on the grid. Okay? So I'm just gonna hit escape. I still got my drawing tool. I'm gonna hit escape again. I don't need my drawing tool. And I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna go, cool. Now, I can come over here and I can change the slope. It's at 912 right now, which would look ridiculous. We're gonna go 412, because that's what the DWG, if we went and looked at it, that's what it would say. And I'm just playing here. I'm gonna click to finish now just to see what I get. And you don't see anything, right? So if you go to 3D, you'll see you have a roof now. But is that the kind of roof we want? No, this is a cottage roof. It's got 2 hips on it. It's not a gable roof. So I'm gonna go back to my top of wall. And select the roof somehow. Easiest way is to select it in 3D, so it's lit up, I can see through it. No, just leave it.
Okay.
No, that'll be a big problem if you do that. We'll just leave it like that. You, never say no. Yes, you could, but no. Well, people will be drowning if we do that. 'Cause there's a bunch of steps we want to avoid. So now I'm gonna go back to top of wall. And I'm gonna go edit footprint. Hello. I'm gonna go edit footprint. So it appears very much like when we drew the floor and then you wanted to cut the hole. Okay? Oh, that was another big one too. I'm gonna interrupt myself. In the assignment, you'll see, a lot of you will see this comment. Oh, there's the floor right there. I've got that stairwell there, with the two 2x4 walls going up. And there's a little bit of drywall right here on both sides of that wall. When I cut that floor, it's gotta be cut at the framing. Right? The reason is because when we add the stairs underneath, there's gonna be a couple of walls there. Mr. Drywaller is gonna drywall that right straight through. If there's a floor system in the way when you're walking down the stairs, you're gonna see the drywall come out into the stairwell. You don't want that. So that had to go back a half an inch. A lot of you didn't cut it properly. I'd say about half of you. Has to be cut at the framing. Again, you probably thought you were, but you probably weren't working in fine. And the drywall wasn't showing up. That's probably what a lot of that was. So just practice and patience. Okay, so we wanna get rid of these two end slopes. Don't click on the triangle. Seems like that's what you'd wanna do. That's the intuitive part, to get rid of it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this end of my sketch model. I'm gonna click on this line. Clicky. And I'm gonna come over here and let's see over here in properties where it says define roof slope. Uncheck it. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna click on that one, and I'm gonna uncheck it. The little triangle goes away. I go back to my 3D, oops, can't see it, I'm gonna click to finish. I'm gonna go to 3D and take a look. Ah, it look nice. Ah,
You can see now.
yeah. Okay? So again, we got some issues here, and we're gonna deal with it. Okay, a little drafty. Okay, got the rain taken care of, but not the draft. Okay, ow, patience grasshopper. Oh, dang, I need that. Ooh. Long-term disability. See you next year. Start limping like those little Sate guys do. You ever notice that? You know, in what was that movie? Men in Black. Remember the bug? The way he walked. There's a few guys. After you work here about 30 years, you start walking like that. I got a ways to go. Okay. Okay, we're pretty much done there. Really, all we got to do now is go clean it up. So there's a couple ways we can do that. I'm gonna leave that section there. That might be one of my good ones. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna put one here. Let's just see what we got here. So this should tell you something. When I select this roof, when we had that set for 0, remember I said let's just leave it at 0 when we place the roof to see what we get. It goes right out to the end of the rafter tail. Okay, this is where we decide. So we got a 2-foot overhang. This is where we decide how much heel height do we want. We don't have any trusses drawn yet. So let's come in and make the decision, executive decision. So this is, say this is our, I'm gonna change this to fine. And there's our 2x6 in there. It's got drywall on the bottom of it. We don't want drywall outside, but that's okay just for this. Let's just see what we got here. What's a responsible heel height to have? So heel height is measured at the outside of sheathing. I'm gonna come up, I got 8 inches. That's pretty good. I mean, for a little residential bungalow like that, because you gotta get insulation in here and you gotta have air move over it. So I can probably get, gosh, a foot of insulation there. That's not too shabs. Okay. When we used to build this house, we only had 7 inches there, by the way, and it was because it had to fit out the door, and we didn't want to lower the pitch any because it would look stupid. Actually, this house looks really good 12.6, but we couldn't. It wouldn't fit out the door. Okay, so it was a constraint, a building constraint. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna leave it there. It's up to you guys if you want, but if I wanted to, how do I change that? Right here. Right, base offset, and it's measuring it from the tail. The longer the tail, the higher the heel height's gonna be. If I make the slope more aggressive, the higher the heel's gonna be. Okay, so this is important from a building science standpoint, is I wanna get, this is a huge leakage spot for insulation on homes is right here, okay? The best way, another way to combat it too, and that's when you put exterior insulation system on the wall, you run it right up the heel face too, to within an inch underneath that sheathing, so you get airflow over top, okay? We used to build this in the lab, and it was a lot of fun putting the trusses on. I miss it, but this is gonna simulate it. If we have time later on, we'll draw some trusses and see if we can plunk them in here, but for now, we need to baby steps. Okay, so I think I just kinda leave it like that. Just leave it for 0, but you can move it up and down if you want, it's up to you. Okay, we're gonna leave the drywall on there for now too, but we're gonna re-drywall the ceiling a bit later. Alright, so what do we do with the draft? This is fun. I should pay attention to the assignment, I'm just playing here now. Oh, we're gonna pull them up. How do I name it a gable again? Yeah, sure, go back to top of wall. You have to select the wall somehow, I can't really select it here, the roof I mean. I went to 3D, I selected the roof, so it's picked. Back to top of wall, and then edit footprint. Okay, click on the slope you want to get rid of, in this case I wanted to get rid of that one. And define slope over here. I unchecked it, I'm gonna check it back, just for fun, for funsies. And then you have to click to finish. Now I got a hybrid. Right? Okay. Plug in hybrid. Now I gotta go fix it, cause I don't want it like that. Click on the line, uncheck define slope. Some other stuff you can do in there too, but that's, and then check to finish. When you're in sketch mode, you always have to either throw it away or check to finish. Okay? Alright, so how do we make this thing look normal? Grab it reading along, just select the wall. Don't pull it up with these arrows. It'll be never-ending disaster to your model. See this attach top base tool here? Just click it, and then click on what you want it to go to, the roof. Ciao. Okay? But there's other stuff. There's other stuff. This is where it gets tricky, and it's actually kind of fun. You zoom in. This is working in 3D is always the best part. I want to pull this wall up because remember I wanted an 8-inch heel. You know, lighten that wall up. Attach top base. Click on roof. Ka-chow. Okay, no more drafty in there. We have a problem, which is hard to do, but we'll get to it in a bit. In here's a bit gnarly, so I gotta be careful. Select that wall. Attach top base. Select the wall. And you just have to be diligent. I want to get this little guy here. Attach top base. Select the roof. This guy. You just have to be patient, let it light up. Attach top base. Select the roof. And I got this little fella in here. It's very satisfying. And then you just keep going around until you're happy.
Do you also do the east and west end?
Where's east, where's west?
Okay, leave it open.
I could leave it open, yeah. We got a problem though, what about that wall in there? If you go all the way back up to the DWG, you will see a note that, maybe it's not on the line, but there's a transition right here. This is all flat ceiling. From this wall right here, this is all flat ceiling, and this is vaulted. So we have a transition we have to deal with. There's a number of ways to fill this in. and it's tricky. Here's one way that I like to do. Pull these walls back. I'll put them back later. You're gonna lose this closet door, but that's no biggie. Okay, this is just one of a zillion ways, and every year somebody comes up with a creative way. I'm gonna highlight that wall, I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna grab this wall. And I'm gonna pull it over. I'll put these back later. Now, I'm gonna go inside the house, I'm gonna peek, and I go, ooh, nice. The other thing I can do, because I'm a space ranger, as they say, I'm gonna turn my section box on. I'm gonna light it up, and I'm gonna slice the house right about there. You guys remember section box? I did that kinda quick. In 3D view, right down here under extents and properties, section box. Check it, then you get that box, light up the box like this. Then you can pull those arrows. In 3D view. Okay, so I'm gonna slice it here so I can see what's going on. Okay, so now I'm in here like this. Now I'm gonna light up that wall that I wanna pull up. And I'm gonna use my attached top base. And I'm gonna click the roof.
How did you create this slice?
The slice?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Go to 3D view. Okay, come over here to properties, go down to the extents box below graphics, and you'll see scope box, section box. Check that off. Put your mouse back, you get the box. Click on a box to lighten it up,
And drag.
and then you can do all kinds of stuff. You can slice this way too, if you want to.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're just using it. I could do a section. It's just more fun this way. You could do the same thing with a section. I could slice a section through there and do the exact same thing. It's just more fun this way. Okay, so there we go. Now we're gonna, but we have a problem. If we go back to top of subfloor, we've got a bit of a mess here now. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put the walls back. It seems to make sense. You're gonna have to put those doors back too, by the way, sorry, whatever you had there. I'm not sorry at all. I just gonna put these walls back just by lighting them up and grabbing the drag tool. Okay, cool. But I still can't get to bed. I've just locked all these people in. We gotta get them out. So, I just happen to have this section running through here. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna go look at it. Remember the frost wall, what we did? We buried the windows, right? We're gonna get the chainsaw out, we're gonna cut a hole here, okay? So I gotta make sure I have my select by face on. There, I just selected that whole wall, I can see through it. Looks like I got a fridge in front of the window, that's kinda bad, that's okay. I'm gonna grab my wall opening tool. And I'm not gonna try and line it up. If I'm not gonna try and make it perfect, I'm gonna use my align tool to try and make it perfect. I'm gonna go to hidden line now, cause that's a little bit too difficult for me to see. I'm gonna take the bottom of my wall opening, if I hover. Somehow it should pick it up. I don't think I can pick it up in face. I know what I'm gonna do, I have to turn off my select by face button. There, you have to turn off this guy down here. I turned it on to select the wall. You don't have to though, if that confuses you, you can go to top of subfloor, select the wall, then go back to this section. This is where it gets confusing, cause you gotta get adept at going back and forth to these views to get it to do what you want. So I drew that hole in, any old place at all. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start lining. So I'm gonna grab the wall opening. I can pull it, but I'd rather not. I'm gonna use my align tool, and I want it to go to the top of subfloor. From there. I want it to go to the drywall, cause this is all finished in here, so I wanna go to the drywall, the hole. I want it to go to there, from there. And same thing on the other side, I want it to go to the drywall, from there. Do not do that at the top, cause this is all wall right here. Okay, if you align that to that, it blows a hole straight up through, and it's really, really hard to figure out. So I'm gonna let go of the align tool. Grab my wall opening, and I can only do that because I have this turned off. And I'm manually gonna pull it up as close as I can. I'm gonna leave it down just a little bit. Cause if you go too far, it's gonna blow a hole through up there. There's a couple other ways to do it, but this is the easiest way. So let's just leave it like that for now. Let's just say, the other option you can do too is you can use some design. And you'll see this every now and again. Homeowners don't, you can just do this flush cause it's trusses, but maybe there's a beam running across there if it was a 2-story house. I could make that look respectable by going like this if I wanted to. A little over 4 inches, that's cool. If I want to, or I can take it up as close as I want, but I'm gonna see a little line when I get in there. But if you align it to that line, it's gonna blow that wall out up above. So if I go back to my section view, oops. There it is. There's my door. Now I gotta put that door back, that's the only thing. So I go back to top of subfloor, and I didn't have any doors in this model anyway, this is my play model. I just need to put this door back in there. But there's a bridge in there now, and if I hover, I should see rectangular door opens up. They're invisible, you don't really see them until you hover over. There are other ways, guys, so feel free to play with the tools in there. And they're all right in here. You can actually, I've tried this before, cutting the hole, it goes up and then try and bring it down. There's no tool that will just grab it and pull together though, unfortunately. It'll go right through, you can try and drag it through, but it'll conflict with the wall opening tool, which is weird because it's a tool that's supposed to cut a hole. There's a number of ways to get at this thing. And if you wanna leave a bulkhead up above, oh, and sometimes you'll get these locks too, for disallowing a joint, just ignore them. Remember that from the book. Okay, so things are looking pretty good here now. Gotta go back to our section box. Give these people their privacy, come back out here. And then I can complete the job by selecting that wall. Attach top to base, select the roof. And now she's closed up. She's closed. And then if you wanna make sure that you're doing a good job, find your top section guy. And give it a slice. Looks nice. Okay? And then if you wanna see, did I get yeah. So I got part of the roof, and you can see where I got that wall. Okay?
Do you have to extend like the bedroom walls or anything like that, or are those all?
They're all flat. We're gonna do the ceiling next. Okay, Okay, so those are common trusses with a lower cord right down top of wall. We're gonna put a ceiling in there. Let's do that right now. Let's look at the, let's put some fascia on, part of the assignment here. So I'm gonna pull this up. So I got my house back. I'm just gonna turn the section box off for now, just cause it's bothering me. There we go. And I got my model in, alright. Step number 3 says create roof fascia on 4 sides and roof gutters along the side. Let's do that, just so you know where the tools are. So how thick's the roof here? Can't remember. Let's call it 7 inches. I like nice big thick fascia, so let's go grab some architecture, roof fascia. There's a tool for everything. Okay? I got everything but dog food. Let me click on that. How big do we want our fascia? 8 or 10 inches at least. I like big, thick, chunky fascia. But if you put too thick a fascia on, you won't see out the windows very well. Let's put 10 inch on, let's be brave. Do they have a 10? No, it only comes in one size, so we need to edit, duplicate, fascia 1 by 10. So this is like it's 1 inches thick, so it's like a Louisiana Pacific Smart Start batten type stuff. It's pre-primed, really nice stuff usually. It's a decent product. So okay to that. And where do we change its darn size? What the heck?
There's a Dropbox.
There we go. Let's go with 10. Did I duplicate this? No, I didn't. I did, but I didn't need to. All these things work a little bit differently every now and again. This is a prime example of it. I forgot about that. Thank you. So just verify we got the 1 by 10. And that looks good to me. Oop. That's not right. You have to make sure you grab the top of the line, the top roof. See, I got 2 choices here, there or there. And then just start smashing it on. It's like the most fun thing you can do all day.
We need to select the top and.
No, you just select the top of the roof. Yeah, there's no constraints or anything you need to worry about in this case. See where I'm just grabbing the top line? There we go. It should join for you. If you zoom in here, it even finishes off this little tail. Anybody's ever built this stuff before, it's always a pain. You end up with this sharp little thing. It also doesn't draw correctly either because fascia doesn't go on this way. There's a way to smooth that out, but I'm not worried about it right now. The sheathing and everything should come over top. We're not really concerned about that. We're just making a correct model, right? Okay, and we're not gonna bother with soffit either. That's a whole arrangement. That's easier to do if we can do trusses. But it even prunes that off at the bottom, which is kind of nice. What it doesn't do is it doesn't chamfer the top here, which is, because this would be underneath the sheathing and everything. And underlayment, but that's good enough for us for now. Okay? What's really fun about this is you can turn the roof on. Oop, I gotta get my select by face turned back on. Nope, I'm still hanging on the fascia. Yeah, all the way around with the fascia. So I'm gonna select the roof and I'm gonna hide the roof. Oops. I should be able to just hide the roof independently. Why is it not? I think I put a piece of fascia in the roof. Yeah. I put a piece of fascia at the roof. So that's the roof, I'll hide the roof. And why is it taking the fascia with it? It's not supposed to. Anyway. Oh, that's all, I've never seen that happen before. Anyway, don't worry about it. Grab the roof. The roof takes the fascia. It's weird. It's very weird. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Put some trough on. Trough doesn't go on gables, you just drip off gables, so you know how to do it. Architecture, roof, they call it gutter. That's American. Just the 5x5 I think is fine. What's the assignment say? Yeah, use the 5x5. And I don't think you have to do anything here either. Should be just pop it right on. What did I do wrong? Roof, gutter. 5x5. I need a tool, I guess. Place gutter. Help, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to know.
Click on the top line.
There we go. There's no ends on the gutter.
What did he put?
Just click on the very top edge, but don't put it on the end of the house. You don't have to leave it on it, well, it's in the assignment, so put it on. Anyway, don't ask me how to do downspouts. Nobody draws them anyway. Nobody wants them, that stuff, so nobody ever draws it. You just build somebody a house and they put all the ugly crap on after, cause you have to have it. Okay, step 4, in the main floor view, make sure the view is set to a quarter. This is, I think, where we start making things up pretty now.
Great.
Yeah, sure, go for a break.
Good.
That's just me sitting on my keys again. Take 5 minutes. We gotta do the ceiling, so that'll take a little bit.
Okay, so the second one, I'm all good, but I'm worried about like the whole grid line thing, that I set up on the first one. And I don't know if there's like anything.
Basement, string, double foundation, base content, slab.
My whole life. When I was a little kid, they went to the moon. And then clocks were power cells and all this cool stuff. Energy, unlimited energy, we still have. Okay, so
What
what,
the-
Like, this is my project 3, but like, do you work on that stuff? So I was with like the rest of
Open.
but for my